Welcome to the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. I'm your host, Robin L. Owens, Ph.D. And this is where we dive in each week to give advice, tools, and tips for high-achieving women leaders. And we talk about leadership purpose and its importance for you. I am a college professor, and when I am not doing that, I am speaking, writing, coaching, mentoring, and teaching high-achieving women leaders how to find, and not only find, but how to stay in alignment with their leadership purpose so they can make a meaningful difference right there in their career, leadership, or business. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin. I am Robin L. Owens, and I'm glad to be with you here today. And this time it's a solo episode. I won't be interviewing anyone. And I want to talk to you about the surprising power of quiet time. The surprising power of quiet time. And as I have done in the past, I share stories from my own experience to encourage you in your journey. And I recall several years ago, I was in my mid-20s. And I was in a leadership position working at a bank in my hometown in Connecticut. Now, I considered it to be a small town, and this was one of the big banks downtown. And so having this position, according to my family and friends and those all who loved me and who were around me, thought I had arrived. This was a great job. I had several people reporting to me. Some of them were 10, 20 years my senior in age. And this was the job, according to everyone else. But inside of me, it just went against who I was as a person. Something about it just didn't connect with me. Now, I had been doing it for several years, but at this time, I started feeling the ache in my soul saying to me, there must be more than this. Is this all there is? And as I went on day to day, it had gotten to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And there was nothing wrong with those people. They were kind people, was a lovely environment physically, but it just went against the grain of who I was. And so one day I decided to go out and sit in my car during my lunch break just to get some quiet time to think by myself. So I go to the car and I'm sitting there and I'm just saying, I just can't do this anymore. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I just sat there in quiet for a few moments. And then I asked myself, if I could do anything, what would it be? And almost instantly, like in a flash, it probably was a couple of moments, but almost instantly it came to me, I'll make a difference in other people's lives. So I immediately knew what was missing in this work environment for me. I felt like I was not making a difference in other people's lives. The moment that came to me when I recognized that's what I needed for myself, I felt energized. I felt like I could do that, whatever it was. Although I didn't have the specifics about what it would be, I knew that I can do that and I needed to set my course to do that. So I ended up leaving the position to set on this journey to make a difference in other people's lives. And I have done that over the years in various ways and in different positions. And I discovered how to be in my purpose, what I call my leadership purpose, and how to always make decisions so I stay in alignment with that leadership purpose. And I talk about this in my upcoming book, Purpose-Based Decisions. And it's about how to have more meaning, purpose, and passion in your work. Okay, so I had this moment and I went on this journey. And now, fast forward to now, I don't know if you've ever had this experience or have you heard people saying to themselves, is this all there is? They seem to be established and or successful, and they're thinking or feeling, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more than this. Or this idea that, just something's missing. Those are the people who I want to encourage and support and motivate. Now, fast forward to today. And recently, the other day, I was reading the Harvard Business Review, and there was an article that talked about the surprising power of quiet time. They didn't call it that. I'm calling it that. But what they were talking about was the benefits. They were encouraging business and career professionals and leaders to spend some time in quiet. And they talked about recent studies show that taking time for silence restores your nervous system. They gave a few benefits. That was one, it restores your nervous system. The article also pointed out that taking time for silence sustains your energy. Taking time for silence sustains your energy. And it also conditions our minds to be more adaptive and responsive. And then they talked about a research study from Duke Medical School that talked about how silence is now associated with developing new cells in the region of the brain that is associated with learning and memory. So those are all wonderful benefits, right, of taking time out and having quiet time. And so as I read the article, it made me think of my own experience, the experience that I just shared with you. And I think about in this busy time, and for those of us who are high achieving women and all that we have going on, sometimes we can get distracted by everything that's going on and we lose touch with what we know inside of us. So if we're trying to wrestle with an issue or have a question, I encourage us to take some time and quiet to get at this. And it's interesting. The last person I interviewed in the last episode here, Nicole Jansen, and if you haven't listened to that episode, it's a wonderful conversation. Go back and listen to that. But she happened to mention this idea too with her work with successful leaders, that there's this space inside of us that if we get quiet, we can get in touch with it and help us move along. And that's some of the work that she does. And then, interestingly enough, a couple other people that I interviewed for this podcast in their own way mentioned this theme of this inner knowing and how it comes from being quiet. And you'll hear those in some upcoming episodes. So if you have any question in your mind or anything that you're wrestling with, I encourage you to take some time, get quiet. Get quiet. I mean, at the time that I had done that, in that moment that was a catalyst for me, I had been spending time in the mornings a little bit, just having some quiet time to myself. So I was cultivating that time of silence. So maybe it came a little quicker to me because I was cultivating that. So that might be something you might want to add to your morning routine, just a little bit of quiet. It only takes a couple of moments. And here's what I want to encourage you to do. If you are trying to wrestle with a question or want answers or just need a moment away to get some perspective, go to a place where you can be alone. Like I did, I went to my car. There was nobody there. And so it was an opportunity to have some time alone. So go to a place where you can be alone. That's one. Number two, just sit in quiet for a few moments. It's almost counterintuitive to what we normally do in our day, but just let your mind be quiet. Even if your mind kind of wanders, still just stay in that quiet. And after you've done that for a couple moments, then just ask yourself the question. Whatever the thing is that you are trying to get clear about or you are struggling with, just ask yourself the question. Like I asked myself, if I can do anything, what would it be? So just ask yourself the question. Then sit for a couple more moments in the quiet. Just sit in the quiet and see what comes. Now you might get an impression or a thought or an idea right then, or it might come later on that day or in the next couple of days. It's likely that it will come in a short time afterwards. So just spend some time in quiet and see what comes. You'll be surprised what you know inside of you that has all the answers and that's waiting to come out. This is the surprising power of quiet time. All right, everybody, that's it for our episode for today. If you found this interesting and or enjoyable, rate, subscribe, share it with others who you think it might help or be interesting to. And until next time, this is Robin. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. If you enjoyed it, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again soon. Meanwhile, this is Robin signing off. See you next time.